guys, welcome back to the workshop. Today, I'm going to try San Mai.
Alright, so what I have here is a file. This is a file that I got from just a thrift store, and I've ground it smooth. It was super dull, couldn't cut anyway, but files are a really good source of high carbon steel, especially for a beginner. And then I've got 2 chunks of mild steel that I have ground one side smooth and clean, and what I'm going to do is weld them together like that for a San Mai billet. While the forge is heating up, I just want to talk about what San Mai is. San Mai is when you take one piece of one type of steel and then 2 pieces of another type of steel and forge weld them together. Now, I have only attempted forge welding once before, and it turned out okay. Part of it forge welded, part of it didn't, but my mild to high carbon steel was really, really low. So by the time I had finished like grinding everything and making a knife from it, there was no more mild steel on the side of the high carbon billet, so it was just a high carbon knife. So that was kind of weird. So my plan for this time is to have more mild steel to high carbon steel. I am using a mild steel just because I don't have any high nickel steel, and so what I'm going to try to do is, I've seen a lot of like mild steels etched and it looks really nice, and so I'm still going to try that. And we're going to try to make a kitchen knife out of the file and the mild steel. Alright, so we have just a little bit of a problem. If you look right there, I actually only got one weld in before I ran out of welding wire. So that stinks. The good news is, though, I believe I might still be able to forge weld this. I'm going to have to be careful right here. I'm going to have to get a good weld first try, but I think I can do it. So I'm going to put this in the fire and hope we get a San Mai Kitchen knife out of it. Alright, so while that's heating up, I did want to talk about what makes a good forge weld. First of all, you have to get the metal up to a really high temperature without a lot of oxygenizing the metal, without creating like that forge scale that you see on a lot of the different pieces I work on. Because that forge scale prevents it from sticking. That's also why you like make the metal clean and you like grind it before forge welding. The next thing you need is some sort of a flux. You don't necessarily need it if your skill level's high enough. You don't require flux, but I mean, I do. I'm just learning how. I have flux. You heat it up hot enough that it's almost melted, like this close to melting, and you hit it really hard, not like super crazy hard, but hard enough that the pieces will stick together without actually melting into each other. And you can create some pretty cool Damascus and some pretty cool San Mai and a lot of great projects with that turn out really, really beautiful. And I'm at the beginning stages of learning how to forge weld. I've done it once before, but I'm hoping today I can actually get something beautiful out of it. I just used this box of borax that I get from Walmart. It's like $5 at Walmart. Borax is what a lot of blacksmiths use when they use a flux. There are different kinds of flux you can use. This is what I'm going to use for this project to make it work. So as of right now, I really only get one shot at forge welding this. I need to make sure it's under perfect conditions because that one weld won't really hold it very well. I need to make sure that I get a good grip and a good forge weld the first time I hammer it on and get the weld set so that I can start forging this into a kitchen knife. All right, this is it, moment of truth.
Holy cow. Did you guys see the sparks coming out of that thing? That was crazy. That's the flux pushing, like flying everywhere. That's crazy. I honestly thought it hit my camera, which my wife would kill me if I hit the camera. But I honestly feel like that was a good weld. I feel like that hurt. If you heard that good hard thunk, like that was a good hit. I feel like, sorry, I'm making sure. I feel like that was a good hit, and hopefully it stuck. It didn't fly apart, which is good. But the next couple of heats are going to be super important. And holy cow, can you see the flames coming out of that thing? That's what's called a dragon's breath of the forge. It's when you get a good reducing flame, which means there's not as much oxygen to propane levels. That's when you get the huge flame bursts outside like that. The forge doesn't get as hot in total, but it definitely heats up better for forge welding. It doesn't oxygenate the blade as much. Look at how much fire is coming out of that. All right, let's see how this second heat goes. I'm really hopeful about this. I think we got a good weld. You hear that like smack? It sounds like punching somebody almost. That's, from what I've heard, that's a good thing. I could be wrong. At first I thought it was the piece breaking apart, but I think that was it welding together. All right, again, I'm really hopeful about this. I think that was a good weld. Oh man. I've tried it once and it failed. I tried it another time and it worked, kinda. I'm really hopeful about this. One, because I don't have another file to use, but then two, because if I can get this, then I can move on to another stage of blacksmithing. I can move on to high-end bladesmithing and Damascus work. That's looking to me like one solid piece of steel. You can still see like some differentiation on the side, but it's bending as one, it's being hammered together, it feels solid, it doesn't feel like pieces are moving around at all, so I'm getting pretty confident about this. I'm gonna switch to my rounding hammer. It's a smaller hammer, but it draws out the piece better, and we'll see if that more aggressive hammering will help at all. I'm also gonna get a glove because I'm tired of slag landing on my hands. Really hope this forge weld sticks. I think if I can get this, that would just be awesome. That would just be amazing. All right, now that I'm pretty sure it's stuck, I'm gonna use the power hammer to do a lot of light, fast blows to hopefully keep it welded together along the entire piece, because sometimes the ends might split and you want to make sure that the entire piece stays forge welded. Another obstacle with this build is the thickness of it. You ever seen your kitchen knife? It's super thin. This thing is over a ½ inch thick of just steel, but only a little bit of it is hardenable steel. And so I need to take this 5/8 inch thick piece of steel and squish it, elongate it, move it around so that it's less than a couple of millimeters, really.